First of all, thank you for being here with Planet Drum and Guitar and Bass followers. We are here in Rome with Dire Straits. Legacy is a project that, if I'm not wrong, started from these two guys over here, from an idea of Marco and Phil. Is it correct?
It's more or less correct. In fact, it was more Marco than me. I joined at a later point, but before me, John Ilsley was involved, and Jack Sony,
Alan as well.
and Alan. So, and it's gradually evolved over the last apparently 7 years. So, yeah, he's responsible.
Yes, I am responsible.
Very strict, no? And molto conciso, diciamo, nella risposta. Well, Marco, this is for you. You were born in Rome, and you used to play on a Dire Straits cover band. In this project, you play guitar, and you also sing. So it's concerning that Mark Knopfler was the singer. It's an important role, isn't it?
Yes, it's a very important role, but I try to do my best. I'm trying,
We beat him up regularly
Yes.
if he gets the pronunciation wrong and,
Yes.
and the licks wrong.
Yes. No, pronunciation, I agree with you, but the licks, not bad. Come on.
It's coming.
It's yes, but I'm trying to do my best. Dire Straits music, I was born with this music, so I have inside my soul, and for me I can say it's easy because it's what I did for nearly my whole life. First in a band in club, as a proper cover band, solid rock. We played very, 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 we play a lot of gigs, over 20 years of life, and after this we decided, to have this fantastic adventure, with Phil, Danny, and all the other guys, and it's a dream for me, to stay on stage with such a great guy, Yes.
And in fact, a dream that came true, wasn't it? How did you meet Marco?
As I said, Marco was already doing it with various people. A few experiments. I think the first one was up in San Virgilio. I think.
Yeah.
That's before my time. But the first time I was involved was a concert here, just outside Rome, called
Monte San Giovanni Campano.
What he said.
Oh, yeah, no.
And I came along just for fun to see what was going on. I remembered most of the Dire Straits arrangements, so I just sort of sat in. I don't think we even rehearsed particularly. And I was amazed. I think everybody on the stage was amazed because 6,000 people came to the show. And we wasn't expecting that at all. So we all kind of looked at each other and said, well, maybe this is a good thing to go forward with. And that's what we've been doing ever since, up to the last gig we played was in Matera down in the south, and 20,000 people came. So it made us understand that the brand of Dire Straits is still immensely strong, and that's why we're taking it forward, because people are hungry. Apart from us, people are hungry to hear the music of Dire Straits again.
playing with Dire Straits in 1990 album. 1992 was it the On Every Street album?
Yes.
Wasn't it? Yeah. And how did you played also with so many artists, also in Italy with Pino Daniele
Yes.
and with Mark Knopfler too.
Yes.
But when and how did you get involved in this project?
It was after I'd finished working with Mark. Mark made a change because he wanted to try somebody different in the studio, and then he wanted to take that forward, the same people forward to the live thing. So that was the end for me. It was a shame for me, but at the same time, I was there 5 years. So I did Dire Straits. I played with Mark, and I was very familiar with the music. And Phil just invited me to come. And I knew Marco from before because we had lunch many times together with Rudy Pensa and etc. etc. So yeah, and we went to Lagana. Yes, name check. Lagana. It's great. So we went. Yeah, I came over, and it was just for me. Actually, it was a social thing. Mostly in the beginning, it was social. I wasn't thinking, anything about the music, or it was just a chance to come to Italy, which I love. I'm very pro-Italian, and I love it here. So here I am. I mean, it just kind of developed. So that's it, really.
Yeah, good. Oh, Phil, you've as we said before, you live in Italy. You're married with an Italian woman. Are you? Italian lady, good. You've been playing with many Italian artists, important Italian artists such as Lucio Battisti, Renato Zero. I've written in here Pino Daniele, you too. How did you get involved in those projects, and how was playing with important Italian artists? You have any anecdote? How is it the way you say?
The first time I played on an Italian album was in 1980 with Lucio Battisti, which included the track Con il nastro rosa, which, without me knowing anything about it, became a huge success here. I mean, I didn't know how successful it was until I started coming here regularly after 1992, 3, 4. And at the time, in 1980, I think the session circuit in London was really good. And I think the reason a lot of foreign people came to London was because of that. So I was involved with a guy called Jeff Wesley, who was the producer of that album, and it went on from there, basically. We did Claudio Baglioni around the same time, in 1981, I think. Strada Facendo, that album with Celso Valli, and a lot of important tracks on that album, I think. And it just evolved from there, and I loved the Italian music, and I enjoyed the passion of it. As a session player, it wasn't always apparent in the sessions that you do every day, the passion. But music is about passion. Music is about that. And I enjoyed that about Italian music, and I've stayed with it ever since. And it's evolved into the fact that I now live here because I like it so much.
Up to you. How is the Italian scene, the Italian musical scene today compared to the UK? I mean, you come from there.
Okay, I'll start. But since downloading around the year 2000, the music business has changed beyond recognition, really, because before 2000, I'm just saying the year 2000 because that's basically when it started to go wrong. Record companies were prepared to take a bit of a chance on an artist. And then as soon as the people stopped buying records and started downloading them, they didn't have the budgets to have that flexibility. So that's when the music changed for me. And what was the question?
Well, the thing is, just to pick up on what Phil's saying, the passion here still exists, and I'm sure the passion exists in the UK too. But when you come here, although financially it's difficult everywhere these days for the music business, the music business is, as Phil says, is not recognizable anymore. It's not the one we remember. So you come here and to find people who are still care about the music so much and the way that it is made and who is involved, and I think that's the thing, that's the carrot that we chase, and it's a beautiful thing here. Whether you like the music or whether you don't like the music, what you have to respect is the passion of the musicians, and I think we probably both find that. What do you think?
I absolutely agree with that.
Well, and the passion is going back to this Dire Straits project is what brought you together.
Harry doesn't mind if he doesn't make a scene. Got a daytime job, he's doing alright. He can play the honky tonk like anything. Saving it up for Friday night. With the summer, with the sun turns on free. And a young boy fooling around.
What kind of instruments are you using? Let's start with Phil. Yeah.
Okay. I've become a purist over the last 20 years or so. Actually, maybe I always was. But now I only use a Stratocaster. And I don't use any pedals apart from a compressor and a volume pedal. And I just plug straight into a very simple amp called a Dreammaker. And it's an old-fashioned valve type amplifier. And it does everything that I want it to. Because I'm told that the sound comes from these. And I think the more simple the line is, the fewer pedals that you have, the more you hear the fingers. So that's my concept. I like the sound of the valves. I like the sound of the speaker. So why mess with it? It's that for me. I get a lot of flexibility out of the hand rather than something doing it for me.
And Marco, we know, if I can say so, we know that you're not of the same idea, are you?
Oh, I'm same idea. I have, it's the problem is that I have to play more guitars on stage, because I have to play the national, the classic guitar, so. Talking about the electric guitars, I agree with Phil, only a valve amp. I used to play Bogner's, Goldfingers, it's a valve amp. The only effect I have is a wah-wah pedal, just to have the sound of Money for Nothing, that's it, 2 channels, Bogner. Now I'm trying also a new Kemper profiling amp that, it's it's a kind of test we are doing. You know, it's
I call it the toaster.
the toaster. Yeah, but you know, it's a kind of we are trying to simplify also the life of our backliner. You know, because I have a lot of guitar changes during the set, so to make, you know, their life easy, you know, we are trying to experiment something, you know.
You'll be playing also on Every Street album.
Yes.
Only with stuff.
Yeah, there's an interesting story that goes with that, which might interest some of the guys listening. When I first got the call to come to the studio to play on that record, Mark wanted me to play on Planet of New Orleans, the track on there. And he had a part, and I learnt the part, and he said, but the sound is not quite right. Okay, so I had, I think, 4 of my Strats with me, different ones. And he said, no, it's none of those. And he said to the guitar roadie, whose name was, I can't remember.
Glenn?
No, it was before Glenn, it was Ron Eve. He said, Ron, go and get some of my Strats and bring them up here and tune them up and get them ready. And so at one point we had 16 Stratocasters lined up on stands all ready, and I played the parts on every one. Yeah. until we got to a point about 3 o'clock in the morning, and Mark said, which one do you prefer to me? I said, I can't tell anymore. I said, they all sound the same now. You know, we've been playing this part for 8 hours. And he said, no, I can't tell either. And he said to the engineer, he said, you choose.
Oh, no.
And then he went home.
And it ended like that.
Yeah, basically.
So you guys see, it's not always a technical matter.
I don't know what Mark was looking for. I'm not sure if he knew what he was looking for. But we went through the process anyway. I think there was a kind of method in his madness, because for that occasion he was making sure that I could follow orders and be precise about what I played. And I think that was the object of the exercise more than anything else.
One last for all 3 of you, which is the song that you're most fond of? Of course, talking about Dire Straits.
Each one has its own identity, really. Each one is a small movie for me. You know, the long arrangements of Telegraph Road and Private Investigation, for me, is just glorious to revisit them and to experience the dynamics that Mark built into in his little movies. That for me is, I say, all of the Dire Straits catalogue falls into that.
We have a more open mind, you know, and every song as it comes up on the stage, every song we commit ourselves to it. So we're not thinking, oh, I preferred the last one, or, oh, I'm looking forward to the next one. You don't think of it in that way. You think of it in a much more, what's the word, pragmatic kind of way. So, you know, I don't have a favourite. Although when I used to play with Mark, I used to love playing Sultans, and I used to love playing Romeo, and I used to love playing Telegraph Road. I used to love those.
So you named 3.
Yes, I did. But one, no, I just remember that, you know, there was adrenaline in those songs somehow, and sentimentality from the past. But, you know, the person to ask that question to is sitting over there.
No. You know, yes, I'm a fan, but you know, I have to agree with Phil and Danny. You know, of course, you know, the great song of Mark Knopfler as, you know, Telegraph Road, Private Investigation are really movie. You know, it's fantastic, the dynamics you have in the songs. You know, it's a lot of things. You know, but if I have to say one, I have to say Telegraph Road. You know, so no, because you know it's fantastic. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I agree. I agree.
Not the same.
Yeah.
Well, okay, guys, thank you very much for being with us. It was a pleasure for us.